Okay, good morning, children. So we are starting with that random function. So random is the last topic we discussed. So we can continue with that same topic. What is the use of that random function? Anyone? Dia, what is the use of random function?
Generates random numbers.
It's not clear, Dia. Some network issue. Okay.
Generate random numbers.
Okay, Dia. So it is used to generate random numbers. Okay. So random is a module. Under that module, we are using different types of built-in function related with that random module. Okay. So first statement you want to use for this random, it is import random. Just like import math, first you want to write the statement, it is import random. So random is a function. Random is a module. Under that random module, we are using different built-in function. One of the built-in function, it is random. And another one, it is rand range and rand int is there. So different types of built-in functions are there under random module. So random is a module. So if you want to use any built-in function under this random module, first you want to import random. So the first statement that you want to write, it is import random. Okay. So we discuss some of the functions. The next function you want to discuss, it is rand range. Okay. So rand range generates a random number between the lower and upper limit, including lower limit, excluding upper limit, just like our range function. Okay, so we are including that lower limit. Range of 1, 5 means starting from 1, it exclude that 5, 1 to 4 is the answer. Just like that. In the case of rand range, we are using the same thing, that is just like range function. It include lower limit. All of you switch on the video, children. It include lower limit and exclude upper limit. For example, in this example, Srihari, Aditya, Chud, Emmanuel, switch on the video. Okay, Srihari. Srihari, okay. All of you switch on the video. Okay, so rand range, this function generates a random number between the lower and upper limit, including lower limit, excluding upper limit. Okay, then this is an example. So first statement for this rand range function, it is import random. So first you want to import random module. After that, you can use this rand range function, because this rand range is a built-in function under the module random. Okay, so A is equal to random dot rand range 20, just like math dot sqrt, just like math dot power. Here also you start with that random dot, because rand range is under random module. So first you want to write import random, after that random dot rand range of 20. So this above code will generate a number between 0 to 19. Here I am giving 20. So this program will generate output, it is between 0 to 19. Here I am giving rand range of 10. What is rand range of 10? Aditya, what is rand range of 10?
Ma'am, numbers from 0 to 9.
Correct. It is 0 to 9. Numbers from 0 to 9. So first time when we execute this set of program, it will generate 3 or any number. After that, next time we execute the same code, it will generate another number between the 0 to 9. Okay, it is not same. Okay, so that is in the case of this rand range. In the case of all the built-in function under this random, first time the execution will result one output, and next time it will generate another output. Okay, that is rand range. So the concept is, in the case of rand range, the starting value is from 0 to 9. So 0 to 9 means here the last value is 10. So it is 0 to 9. Then by default, the lower limit of rand range function is 0. Rand range always generate a number 1 less than the higher limit. That is, it is 10 is the higher limit, so it will generate less than 1, less than 10, that is 9. Okay. So this is rand range. Then random, I think we already discussed this random. Okay, what is the use of random? Random will generate a set floating point number. Random will generate a floating point number between 0 to 1, including 0, excluding 1. Like 0.15, 0.25, just like that. So here also start with random dot, random. It will generate a floating point number. Here in the case of rand range, it will generate a one integer between this range. That is, if it is 10, it will generate from any number between this 0 to 9. But here in the case of random is a built-in function. When we are using this bracket, it is a built-in function. Here simply random means it is a module. When we are add one function bracket with this random, it will convert it to that built-in function. Okay, so random built-in function is used to generate one floating point number from 0 to 1. That 1 is excluded. So between 0 to 1, that is starting from 0.0 to 0.999. Okay, so that is random. The next it is randint. This also we discussed. Okay, Gauri.
Can I show the previous?
Okay. All of you switch on the video, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next it is randint. Randint is it includes two parameters. There is one lower limit and one upper limit. Okay. So in the case of randint, this function generate a random number between the lower limit and upper limit, including both the limits, not this point. Okay. So in the previous cases, that is in the case of rand range and random, it will exclude that upper limit. But here in this randint, it will include both upper and lower limit. Okay. So here it includes two parameters. The first parameter is the lower limit and second parameter is the upper limit. So A is equal to random dot randint within bracket. You want to give two values, but the values must be in the form of randint, random dot randint 6, 9. That is, the lower limit is always less than the upper limit. We can't write 9, 6. That is a wrong statement. Okay, so always write, that is this condition, that is L less than or equal to A less than or equal to U. The value between this L and A, either we can, either the output will be the same L or it will be same U, or the value between this L and U. Okay. Give one example. Random dot randint 0, 9. It will generate a number between 0 to 9. That is, either the once when we execute the statement, the output will be 9, or it will be 0, or it will be 5, or 3, or any number between this 0 to 9. But it include this 0 and 9. That is the main point that you want to notice from this randint. So that is randint, random. All of you switch on the video, children. Aryan, Alvin, Adim, switch on the video. Achut, switch on the video. Okay, so that is randint. Then next one, it is uniform. This uniform function is used to generate a random floating point number. Another floating point number representation, it is random. Simple random will generate a floating point number between 0 to 1. Okay, so here uniform is another built-in function to generate a random floating point number between the lower limit and the upper limit, excluding both. Okay, it is just between. This between is correct for this one. That is, it is between this lower limit and upper limit, excluding both. Okay, so here one program, it is you want to print the floating point numbers between 10 and 20. Okay, so import random, print random dot uniform 10 comma 20. First you want to give the lower limit, then give the upper limit. So it will generate a number between 10 and 20, floating point number between 10 and 20. It could be any other number. That is, next time when we execute the same code, it will generate another floating point number between this 10 and 20. Okay, that is the main concept behind this random. Whenever we execute a set of statement again and again, it will generate different outputs. Random outputs. Okay, so here the case of uniform, it will generate a floating point number between this lower and upper limit. So in this case, the output it is 12.12 or 15.13 or any floating point number between this 10 and 20, excluding both. That is, excluding 10 and 20. Okay. The next, it is choice. Choice is used to select any random element from a list or a tuple or a dictionary. Okay. Choice is a built-in function to take a a value from a list, random value from a list. Okay. So here from a list or from a tuple or from a dictionary. Achut, Mohammed, Aryan, switch on the video. Okay, so here the code is L is equal to a list. L is equal to 6 values are there. Then print random dot choice of L. Here I am giving a list. So choice is a built-in function that accepts a list or tuple or dictionary as parameter. Okay. Then it will generate a random number from this list. In other cases, that is just above, we discussed some random built-in functions. That is, from that, in that functions, we will give us a range or one value. From that one value or from a range of value, then it will generate a single value. Okay. But in the case of this choice and shuffle, these are the two functions that will accept a sequence data type. That is either tuple, list or dictionary. Okay, so here L is equal to 30, 40, 50, the 6 values. The name of that list, it is L, and I accept this L as a parameter here. So choice of L. Choice of L means it will generate a random number from this set of values. So it will be 40 or it will be 50 or it will be 30, 60, 10 or 90, any of these values. That is choice. Okay. Is it clear, Emmanuel? Okay. Okay. Mohammed? Mohammed? Are you there, Mohammed?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the use of choice function? Mohammed? What is the use of choice function? Achyut, what is the use of choice function?
I don't know.
Hmm?
I don't know.
Why? I just discussed it. What happened?
I joined late.
No, you are there at that time. What are you doing there?
No, I was checking the text.
Ah, you just close the textbook and listen here. Okay. So, Adul, what is choice?
It chooses an element from a sequence randomly.
It choose one element or it select a one element from a list or tuple or dictionary. Is it clear, Achyut? Okay, so choice and shuffle are the two built-in functions under this random module to accept a value from a or select a value from a list, tuple or dictionary. Okay, so choice is used to select a random number from list, tuple or dictionary. This shuffle is another built-in function. It's same as that particular word shuffle. It just shuffle the content. Okay, so here this function is used to shuffle, that is change the order. It will change the order. Okay, from the same meaning of that word, it will just shuffle the content of that list or tuple. So if my list include Amit, Sumit, Naina, Suman and Parth. When I am using this shuffle R, it will just rearrange these values. So it will display like Suman, Naina, Sumit, Amit, Parth. Or when you execute once again, it will generate another order. Okay, that is shuffle. So these are the functions under these random modules. Second. So the two functions, two built-in functions that accept list and tuple for their operation, it is shuffle and choice. Okay, shuffle is used to just shuffle the contents and choice is used to select one element from the list, tuple or dictionary. So any doubt related with this random module? So learns one example for each built-in function. Then you can answer all the questions related with this topic. Okay. That is in which function it include lower limit and upper limit, in which function it include lower limit only, just like that. Okay. In the case of shuffle and choice, there is no need of that range. It will accept a list, tuple or dictionary. So the answer is from that list. Aryan, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone, any doubt related with any of these built-in functions? No. Okay. So we can just discuss that functions chapter. Next period, I give one homework for you, that is prepare some MCQ questions based on this functions. So be ready with that MCQ questions. Okay. So next chapter it is working with function. This random and all these built-in functions are under this working with function. That is, in this working with function we are discussing different types of functions like built-in functions. So under that built-in function category we include all these functions, that is all the mathematical functions. I just discuss all these built-in functions like len, type, id, int, input, str, all the functions. Okay, so all that topics are under this working with function chapter. So function is a subprogram that acts on data and often return a value. And in this function, we divide these functions into three parts, that is built-in function, user-defined function, that is function defined in modules, and user-defined functions. So there are mainly three types of built-in function, three types of functions: built-in function, functions defined with defined in under module, functions defined under module, then user-defined functions. So first one, it is built-in functions. What is built-in function? Aryan, what is built-in function?
These are predefined functions.
That is predefined function, is already there. It is a predefined function and always available for use. That is, in the case of built-in function, when we are using one of the example for this built-in function is len, then another one it is type, int, input, etc. So when we are using this len, type, or int, any built-in function, we can just use that built-in function. There is no need of writing the definition. Okay, there is no need of writing the definition in the case of this built-in function and also in the case of this second type. But in the case of this user-defined function, first you want to write the definition of that function, then only you can use that function. So that is the difference between these two and the third one. Okay, so in the case of built-in function and function defined under module, there is no need of writing the definition. You want to just call that function for that particular purpose. If you want to find the length of one string, use that function without writing the definition. But in the case of user-defined function, you want to write the definition based on that function. Okay, so example for built-in function, it is len, type, int, input, etc. Then another one, it is id. What is the use of id, Diya? id?
Get the ID number of variable.
That is id number means?
The place where some variable is stored.
That is the address of that variable. Okay, id means it is the memory location or address of that variable. Okay, so type is a function used to display the type of that variable, and id is used to display the memory address or memory location of that variable. Then function defined under module means it is just under random or under math. Okay, that is under a module we are using. But when we are using this len, type, int, input, there is no need of importing any module. You can just use this function len, type, int, input. You can just use that function. There is no need of importing any modules. But in the case of this sqrt, or in the case of this rand range, or in the case of this random, first you want to import one module, then only we can use this sqrt. Which module you want to import, Krishna, for using this sqrt? Krishna,
Function.
which module is used just before
Math.
this?
Math module.
Random module for sqrt.
The math module.
Okay, math module. Correct, Krishna. That is math module, because sqrt is under math module. Okay, so function defined in module means first you want to import the module according to that built-in function, then only we can use this sqrt. Okay, so the first function, it is built-in function. Type, it is built-in function. Second, it is function defined in modules. And third one, it is the user-defined function. So we already discussed these two, and now this user-defined function. Which are the different categories under this user-defined function? Function header is there. Then, which are the different parts for this function, Gauri?
Parameter.
Parameter is the function header is the
Body.
function body is the one more is the
Indentation.
indentation.
Function call.
Function call. Correct, Gauri. So it include function header. Then under that function header, function body is there. Within the same line, we are using parameters, and in the main section, we are using function call statement. And in the case of this function body, we use some indentation, that is tab space, for writing that function body. Okay. So function header, the first line of the function, it is known as function header. And Achut, are you there? Okay. So function header, the first line of the function definition that begins with keyword DEF, and it is not in capital form, it is small letter DEF. Okay. DEF and ends with a colon. So that is function header line. Function header line means it is the starting line of that function. It will start with keyword DEF, end with colon. And within that function bracket, we are using some parameters and also use one name for that function. That is user defined name and user defined parameters. Okay. Then what is parameter? Parameters means when we are using a value between this function bracket, this A and B are known as parameters. Then function body means the statement under this function header. Okay. Statement under this function header is known as function body. Then indentation, it is the tab space. Alvin, here, what is the name of this one? Alvin, sum is equal to call sum num1 comma num2. What is the name of that statement? Is it function header? Is it function parameter or function call? Which is the statement? Oh, which is the function header statement, Alvin? Alvin, okay.
Yes.
Which is the function header statement? In this example, which is the function header statement? I just explained it, Alvin. Mohammed? Okay, Manuel.
Ma'am, DEF is the function header.
This is the function header. This is the function header. This is function call. Okay. This is the function body. And the space is the function indentation. Okay. The first statement starting with keyword DEF is the function header and it ends with a colon symbol. And after under that we write the body. That body alignment, body statement alignment is just after indentation. And from where we start the program? Srihari, how is the control flow of this program?
Num1 will be executed first. Then num2.
Okay, then
Sum is equal to call sum.
Hmm.
Then it will go to def CAC sum. Then you will run there. Then print.
Okay, correct, Srihari. we will start from, so this is the main program. So it will start from num1, num2. So first it will execute this statement, then second this one, then third it will call this function. So control moves to function definition and it will execute these two statements. After that, again control moves to this sum, that is the value returned from this function definition, that is return S statement will return the value to this sum. Return S will return a value, that value is stored here. This is in the sum, and then it will print this result. Okay, is it clear, the control flow? It is very important for the output related questions. Okay, so it will start from num1, then it will execute num2. After that, function call statement. So in that function call statement, we'll just pass these values to call sum, and it will execute. After calling the function, it will execute function header or function body statements. So S is equal to X plus Y is executed. After that, the result is returned to this statement and it is assigned to sum, and then it will print this sum. Okay, so this is the function control flow. Then argument means the variables that is used and used in this function call statement. So this num1 and num2 is known as arguments or actual parameter or actual argument. That is the word with this actual. It is in the case of function call statement. Actual parameter or actual argument. So actual value, that is we are starting from main function. So actual value is from main value. So you just understand the concept, that is actual parameter or actual argument means the arguments or parameters that is used in function call statement. Then formal parameter or formal argument means it is the parameters that is used in function header. Okay. Formal parameter or formal arguments, that is the variables used in function header. So here this X and Y is known as formal argument or formal parameter. Then different types of parameters. First one, it is positional parameter. Positional parameter is the normal parameter. That is, in the case of this function definition, here 3 parameters are there. When we call this function x, y, z, this x is assigned to A, y is assigned to B, z is assigned to C. This is positional parameter. When the function's call statement must match the number and order of arguments as defined in the function definition, this is called position argument matching. That is, if I am using this function definition, if I call a function like check 2, 3, is it valid or invalid, Achyut? Sorry. Achyut?
Valid.
It's not clear, Achyut?
Valid. No.
This one is valid for this function definition? Achyut?
No, ma'am. One more is.
One more is needed. Correct, Achyut. That is, here in this function definition, we use 3 parameters. That is, 3 formal parameters are there. But here I am using only 2 actual parameters. So when we are using positional argument, then use the same number. Okay, use same number in function call and function header statement. So that is the one thing you want to notice in the case of this positional argument. We can use any type, that is we can use all variable, 1 literal and 2 variable, all literal, just like that. Anyway, we can use formal parameters and actual parameters. Okay. The argument must be provided for all parameters. In the case of positional parameter, the function call statement must be provided, that is, argument must be provided for all parameters, and the values of argument are matched with parameters. That is, if I'm using in the case of one statement, that is diff in the case of that default argument, you can explain that term. That is, the values of argument are matched with parameters and the same time position. Okay, same time the order also, it is very important. So in the case of default argument, what is default argument? A parameter having defined value in the function header. That is, here this is an example for default argument. We are giving a default value. Okay, we are giving one default value. So here in the case of function header, I'm just writing one variable with one value. So here principal amount is there, time is there, and after that the third value I just write it as rate equal to 10. So this rate is a default argument. So there is no need of giving a value for that rate when we are calling that function. That is default argument. So here I'm calling this interest function with two values, but here we are using three parameters. Here we are using three parameters, but at the time of function call, I'm using only two values. So the first value is assigned to principal amount and 2 is assigned to time, and rate will take this 10. Okay, rate will take the default value, it is 10. Then if I am giving one more value, then this instead of this or in place of this 10, we will use this 0.15. Okay. Is it clear, children? Alvin, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the case of default argument, when we are giving that is, here I am using one default argument, then we can call the function with here three parameters are there. We can call the function using two values. Then the value of this rate is the default value. We can call the same function using three arguments also. Then in that case, we use this 0.15 as rate. It will not use this 10 as rate. It will take this new value, that is 0.15 as rate. That is default argument. The default values are considered only if no value is provided for that parameter in the function call statement. Okay, if there is no value for that function call, for that parameter in the function call statement, then only it will take that function call statement, function default value. Otherwise, it will take the new value. Okay, so it will default values are considered only if no value is provided for that parameter in the function call statement. Then default arguments are useful in situation where some parameters always have same value. The case of that interest calculation, the rate is always same. So we can give that rate as default value. Okay. So rate is equal to 0.1 or rate is equal to 0.2. You can just give that rate as default value. So there is no need of repeatedly typing that rate value. So that is default argument. Then keyword arguments or no named arguments. That is, at the time of function call statement, we use parameter with value. That is keyword arguments. Principal amount equal to 2000. Time is equal to 2. Here also 1 equal to is there. Rate is equal to 0.10. All of you switch on the video, children. So keyword or named argument means it will use the name at the same time value. That is keyword arguments. Are named argument with assigned values. Named arguments with assigned value. Okay. So in the case of positional argument, we just use the variable name. And at the time of function call statement, we can give variable name or value, literals, or a combination of literals and variables. The case of default argument will just give the assigned value at the time of function header only. Okay. But in the case of this keyword argument, the time of function call, this is the function call statement. In this function call statement, we are using argument name along with value, assigned value. So print is equal to 2000, time is equal to 2, rate is equal to 0.10, just like that. Okay. So this is keyword argument. So here there is no problem if you are just rearranging the argument name. Because we are using this argument name with value, assigned value. Then using multiple arguments. There are some rules related with this multiple arguments. That is, in one function, if you are using positional argument, default argument, and the third one, it is keyword argument. Which are the rules related with that? 3 type of arguments. We are using a combination of that 3 type of arguments. That is, first you want to use the positional arguments, then only we can use that keyword arguments. First you want to use positional argument, then only we can use that keyword argument. In your textbooks, different examples are there. In that example, it will display which are the legal and which are the illegal function call statement along with the reason. Okay, just go through that reason and just go through that examples also. So if there is any doubt related with this positional argument, we can discuss that in the next class. Okay. Okay. And the last topic we want to discuss it is global scope and local scope, isn't it? That is the only point that we can discuss from that chapter. Just check. Any other points are there?
Void and non-void.
Void and non-void. Okay. That is return value. Which function? Okay. That's all. Okay, next period. So be ready with the MCQs. Prepare 10 MCQs, minimum 10 MCQs based on this function chapter. Okay.